did you hear about this? The new ESPN, Fox, Warner Brothers Discovery streaming service bundle has a name.
Yeah, what's it called again? I forgot to remember.
It's called Venue.
Venue.
But it's not spelled like venue, like an athletic venue, like this is an athletic venue.
Can I make a guess?
It's spelled, yeah.
Is it VENYOU?
No.
That's not bad.
That's not bad. But no, it's actually VENU.
Yeah.
Oh, gross.
Yeah.
Gross. Interesting, Nick. It's just the same word without the E at the end.
Yeah,
no, it's
just
funny.
put the E at the end.
This new streaming entity, with ESPN, you get all the stuff that ESPN would deliver. With Fox, you get all the stuff that they deliver. And with Warner Brothers Discovery, you'll get reruns of the probably Big Bang Theory?
Oh, yeah, you won't have the NBA anymore in there. Not great.
I mean, you'll have NHL.
March Madness.
You have NHL, March Madness, and starting next year, 6 NASCAR races.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just glad that we finally have one place where all of these other services can come together into a big bundle. Finally.
It is nice. It is nice.
Yeah, we used to have that too. It was called cable.
It was indeed called cable. Interesting, Nick. So you think venue without the E? I mean, it is just a misspelled word.
I think it feels like it's trying too hard at that point.
It is. It's trying.
Well,
why don't you just call it venue and spell it the normal way?
Yeah, and then there was already stadium, and so now this is another way to say that.
Yeah.
Interesting. But, wow, great point. With the NBA, and by the way, I just saw a story. I haven't had a chance to read it yet. But this is from Alex Sherman, who writes for CNBC.
Alex Sherman.
The league continues to hold talks with Warner Bros. Discovery on striking a deal, but what's most likely to happen is the NBA signs papers with NBC Universal and forces Warner Brothers to match. What happens then could become a legal matter. So I'll have a chance to read that later. But if they lose the NBA, then one big part of this streaming service that you're like, and you also have all the NBA games. That's a lot of inventory that you suddenly lose overnight, that you're not going to get inside of this.
But with ESPN, you'll be guaranteed to get all of the finals.
That's
games
true.
And,
That's true.
And at least half the conference finals.
Yeah.
So, there is that.
The Amazing Daniel has a good point. He says he's going to pronounce it Venu. It does look like it should be pronounced Venu.
Venu.
It looks like something from Indiana Jones.
I like the idea of us calling it Venu.
I like Venu.
That sounds like something out of Star Trek.
It does. That too.
Mr. Spock, what are you seeing in the scope? Captain, I see Venu.
I
don't
wrong
know.
there, John. Not wrong.
But Netflix is going to get 2 Christmas Day games, so they're peeling those off. I wonder, that must be written into the contracts because they just signed new contracts with all of their partners.
I'm happy you brought this up. I was thinking the same thing. How are they able to just keep picking these games and say, hey, do you want it? And they're like, yeah, sure. A playoff game last year ended up on Peacock. How is that possible?
Because last year's, now that makes at least a little bit of sense because that's
NBC did used to have 2 games.
That's NBC.
That's
right.
True. That's true.
So,
but when Amazon gets one this upcoming year, that's different. They're going to be stealing that from somebody.
Right. But that's part of the contract they just signed.
I guess that's true, yeah.
But this is after all the contracts have been signed. They literally, because last year, the Chiefs-Raiders game was on CBS, and what was the Christmas Day game on Fox?
Eagles-Giants.
Right.
Yeah.
Those games were on NBC and Fox, or CBS and Fox.
Yep.
Now they've literally just peeled those games away, and they said, here you go, Netflix. So I mean, that's kind of a detailed, oriented deal. It's probably not a huge question, but I am curious how they're able to do that, but they did it.
Yeah.
And so now, if you're an NFL fan, you're going to need just about every mainstream service that's out there. Obviously, you need the 4 major networks. You need ESPN.
Yep.
You need Amazon Prime.
Yep.
You need
Netflix.
And you need Peacock.
Well, and you also need ESPN Plus. Did you notice that one of the not doubleheaders that ESPN has this year on a Monday night, one of the games is only on ESPN Plus.
Correct.
Yeah, and then obviously if you are someone who wants to watch every game, you would need Sunday Ticket, which I know that you have your DirecTV.
I have my DirecTV Sunday Ticket.
Yeah, my wife and I will actually have not DirecTV. We will have Sunday Ticket this year. So we will have the regular Sunday Ticket, and thankfully we do have the other streaming services. But it is a pretty penny when you start adding all of those things up.
Awful Announcing did just that last week. And this is what they have come up with. So, so basic cable. Now, I realize that, with a regular over-the-air antenna, you can cover this, but you're still going to need, I guess technically you could get away without basic cable if you subscribe to ESPN Plus.
Which you need for the exclusive ESPN game. Great point, John. Yes.
Yeah.
I think you're right. So you get rid of cable, and then you have over-the-air, and then you sign up for ESPN
Right.
Plus.
As long as you have an antenna and get all the over-the-air networks.
Yep.
You would be able to get your ESPN Monday Night Football and whatever other programming through ESPN Plus. But assuming that, an over-the-air antenna is not optional for you, then you need basic cable. So there's, and they used YouTube TV, $73 a month.
Okay.
So that'll get you your ESPN, all of your networks. That'll take care of that. Then you go to Prime. You need Prime Video.
You need Prime because they have a game once a week.
They'll have all the Thursday night games. They'll have the Black Friday game.
Yep.
And they'll have the wild card.
They'll have a wild card game.
So
you would need them again to watch a wild card NFL playoff game.
That's right now the cheapest is $9 a month. Right now, if you're already a Prime subscriber, it's bundled in. But yeah, $9 a month for Prime Video.
Okay.
Then you're going to need because the Friday season opener in greenless Sao Paulo, Brazil.
Take out the green, folks.
Is going to be on exclusive.
And then what else will be Peacock exclusive?
They will have an exclusive playoff game again, right? Or will?
So I don't know. I actually don't know. That's a good
question.
No,
they won't.
Because Amazon has
Awful Announcing says Peacock will not host a playoff
game.
But they will get. So I guess if there was one you could say, I really, really don't need this. As long as you're not an Eagles or a Packers fan, you don't really care about Friday. If you like the sanctity of your high school football on Fridays,
which John definitely does,
then
he's a huge high school football.
But if you do want it, that's $6.
Yep. Okay.
That's $6.
And that's it, right? They don't have any other regular season games. They just have the first one
exclusively.
Yeah. So
you can watch the Sunday night games on Peacock, but obviously if you already have an NBC, affiliate, you're fine.
So real quick, we should have done the math on this, but in theory, if you want to watch all the Thursday games, you're going to have a monthly sub. If you want to do the Peacock game, since they only have one exclusive, you pay the $9 or whatever it is for the game on September 6th, and then you move on with your life. So you don't have to be a subscriber all season long for that one game, right?
Well, Peacock is still
getting it for a month.
Peacock is still getting college games, though, right?
We're just talking about the NFL right now.
We're just talking about the
NFL.
But that is a good point for folks here.
Nebraska will probably end up on
Nebraska's going to end up on Peacock at least once.
Yeah.
I would be stunned if they weren't. And there'll be other Big Ten games on there as well that you might want to watch.
Sure.
Not to mention, once we get to basketball season. So, yeah. And then you're going to need ESPN Plus. Because ESPN Plus,
they have a regular season. Well, I think they have two or one.
They're airing one of the international games, which would be a Sunday morning,
and then they have the Monday night thing.
And then
it's like week 15 or something like that, if I remember right.
Maybe. Yeah,
but they have
because this story was published last week, so it doesn't have all the details. But yeah, I believe ESPN Plus will have at least 2. If not 3 games that will be exclusive to them. One of the international games, which have been played Sunday mornings, usually on NFL Network.
Oh, it's never mind. It's the Chargers at the Cardinals on Monday the 21st, and it will be at 8:00 Central Time, only on ESPN.
So
Plus.
Instead of the not doubleheader.
No, they have one because the Ravens also play the Bucks that same night on regular ESPN.
No, I know, but how the not doubleheader was both on. One was on ESPN, one was on ABC. Mm-hmm. Now they're taking one of those off of ABC and putting it on ESPN Plus.
Bingo.
So you need ESPN Plus, and then you're going to need Netflix because Christmas Day you're going to have 2 games on Christmas Day. That's an extra $7 a month. The bottom line is. for 6 months of YouTube TV, 5 of Prime Video, 1 month each of Peacock, ESPN Plus, and Netflix. Comes to a grand total of $506.86 before taxes. And then if you want to add the Sunday ticket, that's an extra $350. So you're looking at $855 if you want access to every single NFL game played this season.
Maisie Dennis says, since I don't have to have DirecTV to have Sunday ticket, it's still cheaper, but I wish each of these leagues had a true all games package. They can distribute the money out to other platforms, but just give me one price to get all games. They own them for F's sake. So he's saying instead you sign up for Sunday ticket, you get access to the Netflix game. You get access to the Peacock game. You get access to the ESPN Plus game. It's a great idea. They'll never do it.
Here's why financially it's not a great idea. The reason why Prime has these games is they want you to subscribe to Prime.
Yeah.
So that you have Prime Video and you will stay with Prime Video in their hopes.
Yeah.
Just like if you subscribe to Peacock, they want you to stay there so that you can watch WWE or watch whatever else, whatever they have on there. The Office, all of that stuff. That's why they'll never do a package like that. The whole reason why these streamers want the NFL,
they want you.
It's their gateway. They know that if you're a Jonesin for football and you got to have that game, you got to buy their package. And then what they're hoping is you stay with it. So if they went to something like Daniel suggested, then the streamers aren't getting any benefit to it. Yeah, they're getting whatever their cut is of that, but they don't have you as a subscriber and a potential long-term subscriber.
What they hope is that you sign up and then you forget to cancel, and then suddenly you've been paying for Peacock for a whole year.
In an idealistic world, oh man, this Amazon Prime, they've got all these great movies.
Yeah.
Hey, we like listening to John and Josh talk about the movie club and
look, they have the movie.
All these Netflix movies.
Unfrosted is on Netflix.
Unfrosted.
Yeah,
exactly.
I can't
the
believe
gateway to watching the NFL is Unfrosted.
I can't believe we're going to make people watch that movie.
Yep, well, I already watched it. Thankfully, I don't have to watch it again. Strigori rather, on the YouTube. He says, what the nostalgists are forgetting about cable is that it was usually contracts and hardware rental per TV you want to watch on. So Strigori is saying people who are pining for the old days are pining for something that is aged a certain way in their brains.
Yeah, but the point is still this. You got all those channels together and you didn't have to go a la carte. And because, the dream was, oh man, a la carte, I'm only going to get the channels that I want. Well, guess what we have found out? Getting all the channels that you want is a more expensive option than when everything was bundled together.
Yeah.
We just spelled it out for you. It used to be if you had basic cable, you got every NFL game that was available on television. Now,
well, that's not true. If you had basic cable, you couldn't get every NFL game.
Well,
you only got your local games.
Yeah, but you could get all the ESPN games and all the TNT games.
You're saying if you had cable, you could get every game that was nationally televised.
Correct.
That's true, but there was also all the, I guess in theory, so what was a cable subscription times however many months the NFL season is on versus, YouTube TV. What was the number that you just quoted? It was $500-something.
Yeah.
Now, I will say this. I'm gonna make an argument for actually why this is not as bad. Now, even though I'm playing devil's advocate to a bit of a degree, the more time slots, the more chances that you get to watch NFL games truly by themselves. So, for example, an NFL fan, let's go like 15 years ago, they were on NFL Network on Thursdays, and then they were on Fox CBS Sunday afternoon, NBC on Sunday night, ESPN on Monday Night Football. So that was potentially 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games that you could watch in a given week.
6
right?
windows.
6 windows. Now, there is Thursday. Let's go with like an international week. Thursday, Sunday morning, Sunday afternoon, which you get 2 of those games in the early window. Sunday late afternoon, Sunday night, Monday night, and what if it's a not doubleheader? I mean, it's just, there are more of them.
Well, and then you're adding all the special games. You're adding Christmas. Day. You're adding. You've always had Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
The Saturday games. I mean, the NFL has created more windows.
Yes, exactly. And so there is again, like Christmas that week. I was listening to, and I know we have some audio from Mike North, right?
We'll get to that in a second.
The scheduling czar of the NFL. And he was pointing out the Christmas week because it's like there are 2 games Christmas. Then there's a Thursday game. And then I believe there is 2 Saturday games. And then the regular Sunday. Sunday only has 8 games to have in the early and the late afternoon window. That's not a whole lot of football games. And so while the direct or the Sunday ticket folks, of which I am, you say, oh my gosh, I am paying $400 and I'm only having 8 games. This isn't my money's worth. And like, yeah, in the old school Sunday ticket way, it is not. But me as an NFL fan who wants to watch as much of the league as possible, it's awesome because I get 2 games on Christmas, 1 game on Thursday, 2 or 3 more games on that Saturday, the regular Sunday stuff, and then a Monday game. That is so many windows and so many games that I can devote my full attention to as a football fan. And so that's how I have viewed this stuff. But again, I also am a subscriber to like all these streaming services. So I'm not having to add another one.
Yeah, the week you're talking about is week 17. You've got the 2 games on Christmas. Then you have Thursday night football, the regularly scheduled Thursday night football. Then you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 Sunday afternoon games or Sunday night games.
Was I wrong about that being a Saturday game?
No. Well, and there's 5 games that have yet to be scheduled.
So, okay, that's because that's the Saturday stuff. So of those 5 games, what are those 5 games?
Broncos, Bengals, Cardinals, Rams, Chargers, Patriots, Colts, Giants, Falcons, Commanders.
So of those 5 games, 3 of them are going to get moved to Thursday. So that's what's going on with that. So think about that, John.
They're moving them to Thursday?
Or moving them to Saturday.
Moving to Saturday.
So like that's what they did last year. That was the Saturday that had like Bengals,
and then the other 2 are ending up back on Sunday. Then.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. So think about that. That is a whole lot of windows, even though your Sunday ticket is going to be, you're going to feel like you're not getting your money's worth that Sunday. But that's more opportunities to watch games.
That week, you are going to be drunk on football.
Yeah, absolutely. You will.
You're going to be drunk on football.
By the way, that will then lead into New Year's, which you'll have college football playoff games.
You'll have 2 games on Christmas.
Yep.
You'll have a game on Thursday night.
Yep.
You'll have 3 games on Saturday.
Yep. 3 games. So all
nothing,
day Saturday.
Nothing on Friday, right? Or
nothing on Friday. Well, probably bowl games, but yeah, in terms of the NFL, nothing on Friday.
And then you'll have your usual Sunday, though it'll be a little bit of a lighter Sunday because
8 afternoon games and then a Sunday night game.
And then you'll have a Sunday night game, and then you'll have a Monday night.
And then you'll have, I believe, 1 playoff game on New Year's Eve, and then 3 playoff games, college football
on New Year's Day.
On New Year's Day. So I mean, John, that is
you're going to be drunk on football. And listen, and I know, people will kind of scoff at this, but I do remember, what was it? It was the first day. It was
the Super Wild Card.
It was the Super Wild Card weekend, and then the national championship was the next day, right?
Yeah.
So you had Super Wild Card weekend, then you had the national championship, and it kind of felt like, oh man, I'm kind of footballed out, because that and part of
You're
that
footballed out. I won't be.
Out. But I'm there will be people that will be footballed out. I know there are junkies out there, right? Junkies have to take a break from their hit.
Wow.
And I do think that because part of the magic of football is
once a week.
It's not an everyday sport. And now the NFL is trying to almost turn it into an everyday sport. And I realize this is just 1 week out of the year.
It is. It's not like that every week.
But would it surprise you if someday we're talking about Wednesday night football? It would not surprise me.
It still would, just because of the having to move it like. And again, we'll have Mike North audio, not in relation so much to this, but the way that they had to move stuff around just to make Christmas work. It's very difficult.
I know, but now that they've done it, it's like, oh, maybe that's not so bad. I mean,
it's just way too difficult.
Listen, the idea that a Thursday night game could be flexed, we said there's no way they're going to do that.
And they do.
And they now have that ability. They haven't done it yet.
Yeah. By the way, did you know the Chiefs are playing on every day of the week except for Tuesday this year?
That's insane.
They're playing on every, because
wild.
they have the Christmas Wednesday game.
They're
obviously opening up on a Thursday. They are the Black Friday game this year.
Yeah.
And then they'll have a Saturday and a Sunday. Go to the phones. Let's go to Trent, who wants to chime in on this conversation. What up, Trent? Trent? Trent is gone. Very sad.
Trent's gone.
Well,
Trent.
Speaking of the NFL and college, we had this spirited conversation a couple of days ago regarding the fact that the NFL has 2 Saturday games the first weekend of the college football playoff. So the college football playoff is going to have in their first round a game on Friday night and then a triple header on Saturday. That's the first round. Well, the NFL is going to have 2 NFL games. They're going to have Chiefs.
What's that? That is
Chiefs Texans,
Chief Texans, and then Ravens Steelers.
And then Ravens Steelers.
Because then all 4 of those teams will play on Christmas as well.
Correct. So that's going to be noon and 3:00.
Yes.
Going head to head with those first 2 playoff games on Saturday.
And those are the home playoff games. That's the weekend of home playoff games in college football.
So Mike North, who is the NFL Vice President of Broadcast Planning, and Nick, I've got this audio, so you don't have to worry about it.
Okay.
Here is Mike North. He was on the Jimmy Traina podcast, the SI Media podcast this morning, and he was asked about scheduling those games on that same first Saturday as the college football playoff first round.
It's not a competition. It's definitely going to be, a bit of working it out with each other as they kind of come into a Saturday, like we said, where we've been for decades, those late season Saturdays. The NFL plays games there. And to our point earlier, we're playing on that Saturday, December 21st, because those are the games that are going to lead in to our Wednesday game on Christmas. So, the college folks knew we were going to be on that Saturday, and they're going to have to do what's right for their business and try to figure out the right way between Friday and Saturday to schedule their first round playoff games. It's kind of new for them, and they're working it out with their conferences, with their presidents, with their athletic directors, with their media partners. I'm not sure what you see this year is what you're going to see moving forward, but I do think you're going to see the NFL playing on those late season Saturdays, kind of like we've always done. And you mentioned it, it's on broadcast television, it's on NBC, it's on Fox. It's 4 teams that we think are going to be playoff relevant. Pittsburgh, Baltimore, Houston.
That's why it seemed like maybe you're trying to stick it to college football.
Yeah, I mean, we weren't sticking it to anybody. We were kind of building backwards from Wednesday and thinking about, hey, how do we get to Wednesday? Well, we've got to play Saturday. Maybe when they see our schedule, they rethink how they want to sequence their weekend. Maybe they put 2 games on Friday and 2 on Saturday. We're kind of early in the day, 1 and 4. Maybe they go a little later, 5 and 8. There's room in this sandbox for all of us. We have had good conversations, with Bill Hancock, with General Clark, with Tony Petitti, with the other conference commissioners. This is no surprise to anybody when they see our schedule tonight. They knew exactly what was coming.
So that's Mike North, VP for broadcast planning for the NFL. There's a good point in there because, again, the same 4 teams that are playing on Christmas are the same 4 teams playing in these games. And in order for the Christmas games to happen, they needed the Saturday game so that
because it's like then a Sunday, Thursday.
Exactly.
Not of rest days.
Yeah, so they needed
couldn't
those
do Sunday,
rest days.
Wednesday.
Now, I guess my retort to that would have been, well, but when did you decide
to play
Christmas Day?
Oh, yeah.
Because they did play on Christmas Day last year, but that's because it worked out better with their usual weekend schedule.
It was a Monday last
These
year.
games are being shoehorned in on Wednesday.
This is new.
This is new. This is executing a new day of
and
the
obviously
week.
This is us learning. It will be on Christmas now forever. The NFL will never, in my opinion, not be on
Oh,
Christmas.
yeah.
If they can do Wednesday is the hardest day to do.
Wednesday's the hardest day.
Tuesday will be easy. It'll be an extension. It'll be like a Monday Night Football. And obviously Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday is totally fine with them. So
that would be my only retort, but he is right. And he is also right about the fact that the NFL has always been on these Saturdays.
And they've usually just gone up against lesser bowl games. Here's my prediction. And we hit on this a little bit the other day when we were talking about this. I think college football will move up its first round to the traditional Army-Navy Saturday because the NFL does not play on that Saturday. And I think that they will then use this week as an off week, and then they'll play their quarterfinals on New Year's Day. I think that is what is going to happen. I don't know if next year or in 2026.
Well,
I think that would get them away from doing this, and it would allow them to they want New Year's Day to be for the quarters, right? Because then you can do 3 games in a row, and you can do another game on New Year's
And you can have the Rose Bowl.
You can have the Rose Bowl, you can have sunsets, blah, blah, blah. So, that solves the problem of having to compete with the NFL.
But what about his idea that, because this was what the NFL wanted originally.
They wanted 2 games and 2 games.
Put 2 games on Friday and 2 games on Saturday and push those Saturday starts later so that there's less of an overlap.
The big issue with that would be that a traditional Friday, one of those games would have to be like in the middle of work hours. That Friday is not a holiday. December 20th is not a holiday. We would be on the air during a college football playoff game. That sounds horrible for me as someone who wants to watch the games. So I think college football will just move everything up a week because then they can avoid having to play games on weekdays. Workday weekdays, college football playoff doesn't want that. The ratings issue will be there regardless. So it's almost like 6 of one, 1/2 dozen of the other. Do you want to compete with the NFL or do you want to play in the middle of a workday?
See, I don't know if the idea of moving it up, because remember they're still trying to make an exception for Army and Navy. And we can shake our heads and say, well, Army and Navy
can play during conference championship week. Like, it just something's got to give.
But I think the powers that be would rather have the off week for the playoff teams after conference championship weekend. Otherwise, that's a pretty lengthy haul because most teams don't have a late season bye. So those first round playoff teams will basically have, unless they did have a bye in November, not all of them do, but they would be playing several consecutive weeks and going straight from conference championship weekend potentially to playoff, then a week off. I think that's what they're trying to avoid.
They definitely are. That said, I mean, it really would put pressure on you to win your conference, because if you win your league, you don't have to play then until the quarters, because you're guaranteed a top 4 seed because you would win your conference. You're not guaranteed it, because there's not going to be a group of 5 team that's going to be able to be in the top 4. Not anymore. The group of 5 has lost all their good teams. They're not going to be that high of a ranked team.
Probably. Yeah.
I mean, I would put it at Cincinnati.
Either way, most of them would be.
Most of them would have to turn around and play in another week later. Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.